6 on the agenda is new business, and under new business, item A is a presentation from the Skagit PUD. Special Projects Manager Steve Sexton will introduce this item. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. So your first piece of new business on your agenda this evening is an update from Skagit PUD. And just a way of background for folks, Skagit PUD has been the county's largest purveyor of water since 1936. They bring in about 9 million gallons of water to 80,000 citizens and businesses in Skagit County daily. Skagit PUD's organizational values include providing exceptional service, preserving natural resources, keeping rates as low as possible by making wise investments and strategic business decisions. And tonight we have with us General Manager George Sidhu, and another guy I think is kind of familiar to all that are being here.
I've never seen him.
George, it's all yours.
Hello, George. Welcome. Welcome, Commissioner Lindquist, as well. Thank you for being here.
All right, great. Thank you, Steve. Very good introduction. Looks like you've been reading some of our materials. And
I might skim your website.
yeah, that was really good. I couldn't have done it better myself. Maybe I should just have you come up and do a little bit more. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Thank you for having me here. This is something of an annual thing that I do is come around to the City Council meetings and provide an update. So I appreciate the time. I am here with one of our commissioners, Joe Lindquist. I'm sure all of you are familiar with Mr. Lindquist, having been on the council. I got about 15 slides or so to give you an update on what we're doing, and should take about 10 or 15 minutes. I'm happy to answer questions as we go along, or at the end, if you prefer. At the end, there'll be a slide. I have my email address and my phone number on there as well. Our phones are working great, by the way, in case you happen to call our office. Little inside joke there.
Must be.
So I'll just launch into it, unless there's any questions before I begin.
Any questions for Jerry?
Nothing? All right.
Yeah, thanks.
I always titled our presentation as Building a Secure Water Future because of the things that Steve mentioned, the amount of customers that we serve and the importance we place on that for the community. Just by way of some background, these are our three commissioners, Commissioner Lindquist, Miller, and Hamburg, our three districts, which basically have the same district boundaries as the county commissioner districts. Our commissioners serve 6-year terms, and I believe Commissioner Lindquist's term is up this year, so he'll be running for election for next term. Steve paraphrased our some things that we have in our strategic plan, but that is something that we completed last year to try and set a strategic vision of what we do and the resources that we have to keep focused on priorities. So this is something that we often refer to internally when we look at projects and budgeting and those kinds of things. So just some background there. I'm going to start off with something that's been in the news recently, and it doesn't specifically impact the city directly, but it impacts the community at large. Skagit PUD for years has been a strong partner of our local agricultural community. In recent years, when there's been droughts declared by the state, we have been able to transfer some of our water rights to the irrigators, to certain irrigators, so that they could use it for irrigation. I'll get into that. I'll explain a little bit better on the next slide. But these are two articles that appeared locally last week, and we've worked on doing a seasonal water rights transfer agreement with local irrigators so that we didn't have to wait for a drought or have some other extenuating circumstance. We're trying to provide water security and reliability to our biggest industry in the county, and we're in the process of having these transfers approved by ecology. And so it's great for water security for our ag community, and it impacts so many different things: jobs, tourism, just having the produce not be subject to the drought. So these are two things that, two articles that appeared recently, but I'll give you a brief kind of summary in case you're not familiar with what goes on. The irrigators that we're looking at, that you can see on the screen, there's two irrigation districts down near Fur Island. And those triangles on the map show the places where they divert water, either onto their fields or into the ditches so they can pump out of the ditches onto their field. In the summer is when they need the water the most to irrigate, but in the summer is also when the flows in the Skagit River decrease from lack of snow melt and rainfall. Their water rights are such that when the river drops below a certain level, they can't pump they can't pump out of the river to irrigate. So it's a difficult time for them. That's when they need the water to irrigate, but they can't pump it from the river. So what we've been able to do in years past, we have a pump station on the South Skagit Highway up near Cedar Woolley where we usually pump. And so we are able to transfer some of the water rights that we would normally pump. Instead of us pumping it, we transfer it downstream. You can only transfer water rights downstream. It can go down to the places of diversion for these farmers, and they are allowed to pump it. So we've done that during drought seasons. But what we're working on now is a seasonal transfer. So like the first bullet says, we're looking at doing a seasonal transfer from May through October, just so it covers the irrigation season. They would be used, our water rights, the PUD water rights would be used when the Skagit River flows are lower than the water rights allow the irrigators to take them. So if the river is high enough, the irrigators can use their water rights to pump water. When the river drops, they can then transfer and use ours. So it provides them that security of always having the water available for irrigation. It requires an existing surface water diversion, so this transfer isn't available just blanket to anybody that has some irrigation needs. It's very specific. It has to be run through ecology's filter to qualify. But like the last bullet says, it's in our discussions with the irrigators, ecology, all of our local partners, this is a great thing, provides a lot of security of water availability, and will allow our farmers, I'm not a farmer, I'm just, I've said this enough times to people, but it allows them to project their businesses for next year and the year after, allow them to select crops that are more valuable for them. It gives them that security that water will be available next year. So this is something we're still working on, has not been approved. It's in the public comment period with the Department of Ecology right now. We're expecting a decision in about a month, and then it should be available. So we're really proud of the work that we've done so far. We're hoping to carry it to the finish line so that this is available to the irrigators.
Can I ask
That was a lot, so I'll
George?
pause here in case there's any questions.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
And I should know this. When you release, I'm guessing, is release a fair thing? You release more water into the river? Is that,
It's just water that we're not pumping for our.
okay,
We have to change our operations. So we also need water in the summer. That's when our
Right.
demands are higher.
Right.
So that pump station that we have on the river, we're going to adjust the way we operate the pump station because we use that water to fill Judy Reservoir, and then that's the water that gets treated and delivered to our customers. So we just have to adjust and make sure that we have enough water in Judy Reservoir at the beginning of the summer demand season. So it's just deferred pumping.
I see.
Is-
So does it flow into the irrigation ditches as well?
I think through these diversion points,
Okay.
they pump it from the river into the
Okay.
ditches, which then gets distributed throughout their irrigation district.
Okay.
And I think it's further pumped from there, or just
Yeah.
runs, it sub-irrigates in some places. I think they
Yeah.
have different ways of irrigating.
And you see a lot of irrigation ditches, right, in all the
Yeah.
farmland down south. So I was just curious if it made its way into those as well, because I know the farmers pump out of those too.
Yeah, that's beyond my knowledge, and,
Okay.
I would defer to somebody else that,
Okay.
maybe somebody that's here can speak more to the irrigation needs down there, but
Thank you.
it gets to where it needs to go. We know that.
That's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fantastic creative idea, using existing resources to reduce impacts. As it is limited for, impacts to fish and other aquatic organisms, and so this is a way to reduce some of that. There are actually 4 different water banking mechanisms that have been put into place in the last few years in the county. And so this is a creative one. Seattle City Light did one where they're putting more water in the river for upriver residents to pump from. And then Department of Ecology's also done a water bank in Big Lake. And then Samish was opened up, so there's no water restriction. So in other words, this is one of 4 different mechanisms that are being implemented across the county to address the lack of verifiable water to help improve residential building and commercial production. So great to be a part of that portfolio, and thanks to the work. This is really cool stuff.
Yeah, just to close it out, like Councilmember Brocksmith said, the water rights that we have are, we look at them as a community resource. It's something that the PUD owns and is responsible for. We are good stewards of the resources that we have. But we can look at the way we operate our system, when we pump, how much we pump, to make this a solution that others can participate in. Because water is becoming more and more challenging every single year, whether it's droughts, wells going dry, residential wells. And so there's a lot of issues. This is one that we can address directly. We are the only ones that can transfer rights like this downstream. We have the rights to do it, so we're gonna try this. This is a kind of a pilot for us. If it works, water banking or something like that is also possibly in our future, and we expand it a little bit. We're gonna try it with this and see if we can work out any of the kinks. So, next year's update, I'll let you know how it went and what the issues were. Hopefully there's none.
Yeah, really.
Great.
Moving on. Kind of to close out some of the, one of the big projects that we've done recently that I've updated you on as we worked on construction was our large transmission pipeline. So the red and yellow dashed line is the alignment of our new 36-inch welded steel pipeline that takes water from Judy Reservoir up in the top right corner and delivers it down into the city of Mount Vernon. This is a very large project, about $40 million total, and it is complete and it's in service. So it went through its own little challenges. People saw the pipe out there, kind of not installed, wondering if it was gonna get installed, all those kinds of things. It's in service, everything's working great. It works exactly the way we thought it would work. And we're really happy to have that. It's definitely a more reliable pipeline to serve most of our community. This pipe serves everybody in Mount Vernon and south, and also serves up to the west. So I'll just update you on 2 parts of it. This was the last piece that we had to get in, this directional drill under the Nookachamps Creek. We had to do this twice to get it right. The contractor had to do it twice. This is the second version, but they had to raise the pipe to get it to go under. Over on the left there is the entrance hole, and it goes underneath the creek rather than open digging it through the creek. So this was 1,900 feet that got pulled under Nookachamps Creek to then come up on the other side. So a big U shape under that creek. So it lessened the environmental impact in that area. And it was quite remarkable to see this in action. I'm sure a lot of people did as they were driving by that day. So that was really neat. And then the other part that was really cool is that we had a partnership with Skagit County on a portion of our project where we buried our pipeline in the old county railroad right of way. And that is, county partnered with us to make that a continuation of a trail, the Centennial Trail. And so there's one bridge that goes over one of the forks of the Nookachamps Creek. And so We shared in the cost. Our pipe, you know, these are 3 photos. The one on the right shows our pipe going under the bridge deck. The one on the left shows it from a greater distance, and then that's the one in the middle shows you the deck going over. So this bridge allows the trail to be continuous, going from Big Lake and Big Rock all the way up, and it kind of ends at Clear Lake right now. I think the city of Cedar Woolley and other partners are trying to get it, find a way to continue this trail into Cedar Woolley, either using the Highway 9 bridge or some other way. But this allows it to get up there. So we're really happy about this as well. The bridge, if you drive by it, is supposed to look like that. It's a patina. It's not an old rusted steel bridge. It's meant to look like that. What else are we doing? In Mount Vernon, we do have one pipeline construction project underway. The lines didn't show up very well on this, but it's in general over in West Mount Vernon, up Cascade Street, Baker Street, Lincoln, Cosgrove. It's a distribution pipeline replacement project for us. We have Colacurcio Brothers contractors working on that right now as we speak, and it's going well. We do have a couple of other projects slated. I don't know if it's going to happen this year or next year, but one near College Way, just to get across the railroad tracks. So I'll update you when we get more information on that. Just some photos of the work going on in West Mount Vernon. It's a plastic pipe. It's PVC. Just because of the kinds of soil, you know, we now analyze the soil and find out the best pipe material to put in, and that was what we were using over there. And I think this is one of the last things I want to talk about, the PUD campus. So I came and discussed this with you, and I know you guys have discussed this on your own a number of times. So I thought I would give you an update as to what's going on. I'm sure a lot of people can see what's going on if they drive by. This was the concept, the rendering on the right and our site plan on the left there, and we're well underway. So we take drone photos with our drone about every week, and this is from last week. So you can see the structure is up, the brick facade is going on, and I think now even the windows are going in the front of the building here. The picture on the left shows the meeting room that we're gonna have. So that lower single-story one on the right, that's gonna be our new locker room. That's gonna be a community meeting room as well as for PUD functions. So that's a view from 2 angles on the front. And then there's a view of the back. Just to give you some perspective, you can see our existing building in the background with our green space in between. So it's progressing. We're hoping to be in by the end of the year. And that is all that I have, and I'd be happy to answer questions about anything I talked about, or if there's anything else.
Thanks, George. If you ever need to run a line from the west side to downtown, we'd be happy to partner with you on a pedestrian bridge there.
Okay.
Any other questions from council for George?
That was good, Peter. That was good.
That was
I'll
really
write that
good.
down.
Yeah, please do.
Other questions?
Yeah, this is probably not a fair question for George, so maybe it's almost a committee request, but there is a lot of excitement about the new trail created by your pipeline opportunity, and it'd be really great for us to have a regional connection between the city of Mount Vernon and that trail, and to get over to Cedar Woolley and then up the Cascade Trail there. Cascade Trail. So probably not a fair question to ask George how we get across the Nooka-Champs, but I would really like to have some conversation with the county and any other trail champions about how we do that regional connectivity.
Just to add a comment, I don't have an answer for that, but when we looked at our pipeline alignment and getting from the College Way and up to where we needed to go up Highway 9, we looked at a couple of different alignments. The one that would have allowed or facilitated another pedestrian crossing was over near Big Rock. You know, going right over to the roundabout and then heading up Highway 9. And they call it Big Rock for a reason. It's a lot of rock. And it wouldn't have been good or, you know, efficient for us to dig that out to put a water line in. So we didn't choose to go that way with a pipeline. Doesn't mean a bridge can't be, you know, bolted on or, you know, built over there, so.
Okay. Thanks.
Great. Well, George, thank you
Alright.
for being here tonight.
Yeah.
Commissioner Joe Lindquist, thank you for being here tonight as well. Thank you both for especially the work that you've done for our hardworking farmers to provide some relief in it. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for the time.
Thank you.